In order for me to tell my story about how I came to be a volunteer for CASA and the library, it takes me back to 2005. And I was sitting listening to Brother Donnie McDaniel, our pastor. He was talking about giving, loving, sharing, going. And it was specifically about mission trips. And when he was finished, I walked up and I said, I am the most unlikely person to ever go on a mission trip. But that year was my first year in 2005. And I got off that bus and saw those children running toward us. There were two little girls that clung to me the whole time I was there. And those little girls were just hungry for love and attention, and they literally were with me the whole 2 weeks I was there. If wherever I was, they were staring. And I will never forget, I think that's what really did bring me into volunteering like I do, is those two little girls' hands were on the window as the bus was driving off, and mine were up with theirs, and just all of us just crying our hearts out. And I got to thinking, and of course I went on several other mission trips after that, and each one after I got home I thought, we're leaving these children, they're in such need, but after a week you leave them and you don't know what happens to them. You can't advocate for them. In 2015, one of my good friends, Jan Engel, came into my office and she said, would you consider being a CASA volunteer? So I did a lot of research, and the more I got into what CASA really is about, I was sold on it. Because being a CASA, that's a court-appointed special advocate for children, it lets you be with a child or children through the whole process of their life, as long as they're in foster care or with other relatives. And you get to know that child, and you get to love on them, but the main thing is you get to advocate for them. And that's been 10 years now, almost, and I've had so many cases where that child just needs love, and they need somebody in there for them. And you know, at the end of last year, there were 99 children just in Lauderdale County in foster care. And right now, there are just 27 CASA volunteers. So we take one case and we stay with it through the whole process. So that tells you that there are a lot of children that they don't have an advocate for them. So that's what I do. I advocate for those children. The one thing I do, I guess the second most important, is advocate for that child in person, to be there for that child every month. To be with them, to listen to them, especially teenagers. And they'll tell you after they warm up to you exactly what they want and what they need. What drives me and what is my purpose and my passion, just when I think about that, you know, every person has a God-given talent, and we all have a purpose. And I think as individuals that we need to really search for what that purpose is. And then when we find it, we need to have the passion to go for it, so that we can have that self-satisfaction and just knowing that we have found our purpose and we have a satisfaction in that. When I was called and said that I had been nominated, my first thought was shock. Because there are so many women in this community that give so much of their lives for the betterment of the community in so many different ways. And I'm humbled, that's all I can say, is because there are so many people doing so much good in this town. To become the show's Woman of the Year, if that could put a spotlight on all of the many opportunities we have here in the Shoals, so many different volunteer positions, if it would put the spotlight on that, then to me that would be an honor and a blessing.